I don't know. Today is not a good day. Okay, so let us continue. I mean, I am getting disconnected quite often. So this is one resource that you will be using. And then let's talk about some colors. So for color, you can search on Google CreateUIColors.com. So this is basically a website where you can generate color palette, collection of colors. For example, if you click on this, you will get a lot of colors. You can copy their code and then use them. Now generally when I teach web development, I actually go over things like color theory, like what kind of colors you should choose and what kind of fonts you should choose. But since we do not have time here, so I will go over. I will not do them. I just tell you which resources to use. But if you want to learn about it in more detail, we can do workshops on that later. Then there is one more, my favorite, which is known as uigradients.com. You will see this in use in PyParadox website. So here you can use a gradient. Sorry, not that. So you can have a list of all gradients, and if you like, you can copy their CSS code. Next is there for images and videos. The most famous site is Unsplash. You can search on Unsplash. So this is basically free website, free images. So if you want something, let's say you want a picture of books, you will search here books, and you will get a lot of things. You can actually download them if you want. And here it says that you can create the author, which is not required, but if you want you can do, really. Because one thing I would like to mention is that please do not search in Google and download whatever image you see, because some images have copyright issues. I mean, if you use random images in your website, you might run into legal trouble. So just don't do that. Be careful about that. And then for icons, you have famous ones known as Ion Icon. These are a collection of icons which are free to use. You have Font Awesome icons. These are also free but also have paid options. Now I would also here like to mention that please do not mix icons unless you have a very good design related reason. I mean, you can just see these two icons, they are distinct in style. These ones are some hollow line icons and these ones are some solid. So do not mix unless you know what you are doing. I mean, you can mix if you see that the design looks good. Generally it's not needed. Now I will send everything. My file has a lot of other resources. I will send everything in the group, don't worry. Alright, now we start what we wanted to do. we will learn some HTML. So if you are doing, if you are using any other text editor, I think you can follow along. Just create a folder and name it PyParadox Workshop. Alright, if you are using Visual Studio Code, that's alright, you can follow me. If you are using some other text editor like Notepad or something like that, it's not very difficult. These are all just text files. So first we will create a file. So you create a file. If you are using Visual Code, you can click on this icon and name it. You can name it anything. Let's name it webpage.html. Now you must save the file with .html extension. If you are using Notepad, I sincerely hope nobody is using Notepad in 2020. But if you are using Notepad, you must take care that Notepad automatically appends .txt. So if you save it like .html, it will become .html.txt. So you have to be careful. I hope you know if you are using Notepad. So let me know in the chat if you can't save it. Alright. Now how do we see if it's working or not? You can here click on it and then go down and copy relative path. It's probably not visible. Let me just zoom in a little bit. So you go there and copy relative path and you open your browser. You open your browser and just paste it there. Or actually not sorry for that, not copy relative path. So it should be copy path. So the relative path is basically the path starting from this folder. I do not want that. I want the actual whole path. And then you go to your browser and paste it. And press enter. It will open. Now you see it's empty right now because we have not written anything. There is nothing. We have not written a single bit of HTML there. So let's write something. So the way HTML works is by using tags. Close it. So tags are basically just a structure. Tags are basically just the structure of the web page. So these are, you can think of like they are the codes that tell the browser what to do or what kind of data it is or how to display it. So any HTML web page should start with this tag. So these tags, we write it in between these angle brackets. I think it's visible. Is it visible? Is the text size okay? It's okay. So these tags are written inside this angle brackets, these two angle brackets, less than and greater than. This tells the browser that this is a tag. I mean, if you do not write a tag, anything you write, it will show up on the website. And most tags have an opening part and a closing part, an opening tag and a closing tag. So this is an opening tag or the start of the tag, and this is the ending tag or the closing tag. You can tell that there is a slash. So this slash tells browser that this closes the tag. So anything in between here is part of this tag, HTML tag. Now this HTML tag tells the browser that the document starts from here and ends here. Now this is not needed, but if you are writing HTML5, which is the latest version of HTML, you have to write this on the front. Another tag, you have to write doc type, exclamation mark doc type HTML. So this tells the browser that this is a HTML5 file. Generally in HTML4 you have to write a lot of other things, but not here. This is not necessary, but it's a good practice. Alright. And one more thing, these are case insensitive, so you can write it in small text or capital text, whatever you like, does not matter. Now you have another tag inside it, so the HTML document is divided into two parts, one is head and one is body. And these are also similar. So you have a head tag and then you have a body tag. Not body, body. So you have a head tag and a body tag. So this body tag is basically the part which the user can see and interact with. This is the part where you will put your images, put your text and something. And head is the part where you will put extra information about your page that is seen by the browser and not by the user. For example, you can put your encoding, you can put your title. So let's see what kind of things we can put here. So one thing that you will learn first inside head tag is the title tag. So here I can write something like that, for example, web dev workshop. And this will become the title of the web page. Let's see what it becomes. Now you will save your web page. Remember to save. Okay, I have auto save turned on in my VS Code, so it will save automatically. But you have to save always. So now if I visit my browser and reload my page, you will see the title here at the top in the tab page. Whatever I wrote, web dev workshop, it comes on the top. So this is the title. Now you will probably not learn a lot of things that goes in head. You will learn only one thing, that is the JavaScript tag. But there are other things that go into head, especially doing responsive design. We'll see. Now I will leave the head inside here and I will come to body. So what is available in body? Today we will only go through basic tags, we will not go through advanced tags, for example like header, footer or something like that. Those will be part in the advanced workshop. Now first and foremost we have headings. So for headings the tags are h1 to h6. So let me write something like that, heading 1. And we have h2, heading 2, and so on. We have h3, h4, h5 and all the way down to h6. So now if I open my browser and reload, you will see the heading. So heading 1 or h1 is the biggest, then heading 2 becomes a little bit smaller, then heading 3, heading 4, heading 5 and heading 6 is the smallest. These are the basic headings. So after headings you have paragraph. So this tag is known as key. Now whatever you write inside key, this will become a paragraph. Now if I open my browser and reload, this is the paragraph. Now I can write another paragraph. So let me write another paragraph. So this is another paragraph. I think they are a little bit different. I mean they have a little gap inside. It's because they are different paragraphs. And if you do not want to use paragraphs, that's fine, you can just write anything you want. For example, let's say write something like this. And when you visit your page, you will notice two things. First, you will notice that in my text I had a line break here between Aniket and I. There was a line break. These two texts are in different lines. These two texts are in different lines. This is in first line and this is in second line. But if you visit the web page, you see that these two are in one line. So this is because you have to remember that whatever you do right, they will not retain the original formatting. Just the new lines that you enter, they will all be removed. So everything you write will come in one line, no matter what you write. Even if you had written it inside this paragraph. So if you write it like this, and then write this is another line, for example. Line. So you see, they all become in same line. So this is one thing that HTML does not retain your formatting. In other words, whatever space, tab, whatever you enter. For example, let's say you have, you see here where you have a gap, but that gap is not shown here. I can put some spaces here. But you see there is no space. So whatever space, tab, new lines, whatever you do, HTML will all remove them and replace them with only one space. So if you have some line breaks, they will be replaced with one space. If you have thousands of spaces, they will be replaced with one space only. So this is something you have to be careful about. So how can I deal with this? For that we have another tag. We have a tag called break, or just BR. So this BR, these are called self-containing tags because they do not have a closing partner. You see, P has a closing partner. Yeah, body has a closing partner. HTML has a closing partner, but BR does not have a closing partner. It's because BR just stands for one break. So there is no such thing as between two breaks, something like that. So now if I visit my web page, you see there is a break. Yeah, generally it is a bad idea to use BR because these are not exactly compatible with responsive design. I mean, if you are designing for mobile and your desktop, then if you use BR to manually break, then you will be in trouble because if the screen size gets smaller, you might have to break something somewhere else. For example, I can show you, this is my website. I mean, this is like this. If I now reduce my screen size, you see I have a break here between my name, but I can't put that break. I mean, in responsive design I can't modify the HTML, so I can't put any break here, BR tag here. If I put a BR tag between Aniket and Bhattacharya, then that will show up in desktop mode also. But you see this does not show up. This only breaks when the screen size gets smaller. So using a manual break is bad thing. You should not use it. Yeah. They are just for old days. They were used in old days. And if you want to know how to do this spaces, you have to use this. It is ampersand NBSP semicolon. So this stands for non-breaking space. So space that does not break a line. Now if I visit there, you see there is more space. So one NBSP stands for one space, one white space. This way you can add more spaces if you want. This is also a bad idea. If you want to space two texts apart, there are better ways. There are better ways that work good. And NBSP is just hack, it's some hacky thing. And finally you have something else, which is known as pre. So pre tag is basically known as pre-formatted. So whatever you write inside it, it will show up as it is. So for example, I write something, oops, not that. and if I visit my page, it will show up as I have written. You see there is a gap because there is a gap in my text also, this gap. So inside p tag, whatever you write, it will show up as it is. This is useful if you want to display codes inside your web page, or it actually you were used before to show tables for the browsers which did not support table yet. So you will actually write something like table, something like a table structure using underscores and dash and something, so that those users who are using an old browser, they would see a table. But generally you only use it to display code, generally. Now let's talk about some other display related things. For example, let's say how to do bold, italics and underline. So let me write something. I am Maniket, and let's say I want to bold my name. So for that I will put it inside a B tag. B stands for bold. If I want to put something in B tag, it becomes bold. If I want to put something in italics, I will do something similar. So I will put it in I tag. I stands for italic. See, it become italic. This is zoom it a little bit. It become italic. And finally, you can guess probably how to write underline. It's the U tag. Alright. Now here's the thing that I would like to mention at this point. So generally if you have learned web development in school or college, you have learned B and I, but these are not encouraged. So by the standards, you are discouraged to use I and B tag. You are instead encouraged to use EM and strong tag. For example, use EM tag. EM for italics and use strong tag for bold. These also do the same thing. You won't see a difference between these two. EM also does italic and strong also does bold, but these are actually encouraged. I mean, but the reason I will tell you, but that is part of the advanced course. Not like that. Not right now. In fact, the I tag is used to display icons. That is a weird thing. But I tag, you should not be using I to italic and B to bold currently. Starting from now on, you should use EM tag to emphasize. EM stands for emphasize. And strong tag stands for bold. You will use these two. You can use, no problem. Alright, so I hope anyone doesn't have any question until then. If you have, you can ask me in chat. Alright, now that is done, so let's see a few more tags. Just a few more. Because see, we are now in basic part, so there is no point in doing too many tags. So the next tag that you will use a lot, that is the div tag. The div is basically a division tag. It basically divides. You see, if I hover over it, it shows that the div element has no special meaning at all. So it represents its children. It can be used with the class, line, attributes, etc. So basically it's just to group together some stuff. So inside div you can write something else. For example, let's say inside div I have some paragraphs. So I have let's say 3 paragraphs. So you will not see any difference. I mean visually there is no difference, because HTML generally does not care about visual. HTML care about to represent data in a meaningful way. If I now visit there, you just don't see any difference. I mean, what is the difference between using two paragraphs and using three paragraphs inside a div? There is no visual difference. I mean, you can't tell that these two paragraphs is not inside a div and these three paragraphs are inside a div. You can't say anything. But it's because the div is there. So this actually has some other meaning. I mean, this meaning is related to the search engine or the software that visits your website, and generally not to be seen by the user. And you will learn about more in the advanced workshop about the semantic meanings of HTML. Alright, now you have next, let's see how to do image. Of course, because without image nothing is good, right? I mean, a website without an image is not good. So how to do image? So image is also another self-contained tag, and image, so it means it has no closing tag, and image, the tag name is img. So let me first download an image. So whatever image you want to show, that image should be in the same folder. So let me download it. I am downloading an image. Yeah. So I have downloaded an image here. So how to write it? So the image tag is img. Now you will write src equals and then inside quote the file name. It automatically shows the autocomplete. Let's close the tab. So I will tell you what the src is. First let's see if it worked or not. And it worked. So you now have the entire image in its entire height and width in your page. So what is this src thing? So this src is known as the attribute. This is known as the attribute. So attributes are some extra information about the tags that you are using. So here the img tag tells the browser that this is an image, and then src attribute tells the browser that this image source is this file. So the browser looks at the file from this folder and then displays it. Now you can't use any attribute with any tag. Some tags have a fixed number of attributes, and so for example img has a src and something other. For example, you have another attribute called alt. Let's say alt, I can write some text. So alt is basically known as the alt text, alternate text. So this is the text that shows up if something goes wrong with your image. For example, let's say the image is not present. Let's say the image name is different. Let's say the image name is img1 and I have mistakenly read img. Basically I am just creating a fake scenario that the image is not available anymore. Now if you visit the web page, you will see the alt text that I wrote, just picture. So this actually serves two purposes. First purpose is that if your web image does not load, if your image is not available, or if your image is, let's say, taking too much time to load, which is a very bad thing. Do not make a website that where the image takes a long time to load. If you have an image that takes a long time to load, show something else. Show a placeholder image and then replace it with the image, but that's a different story. But if you have an image that takes a long time to load, until the image loads, the user will see it. And second, which is the most important purpose, that is that if your user is visually impaired, so they have some problem seeing, and they use a screen reader, so of course the screen reader cannot read an image, so they will read the alt text. This you have to keep in mind. This is an accessibility issue. If your image does not have an alt text, some users might not read it. If someone is visually impaired, they might not read whatever image is there. You have to be mindful about that. So I hope it is clear. So what are the attributes that you can use? Now you might ask this, how will I know what attributes to use? So the thing is, you have to know what attributes to use. But there are two attributes that you can use with any tag and which will help us writing CSS later. So those are the class and ID. So those are the most important things. So be careful here and let's understand what happens. Let's say I have a paragraph. Let's say I have a paragraph that, let's say I have a social media website and I am creating a web news feed and I have some paragraphs which are basically the posts of the user. So let's say I have a paragraph, let's say post by user 1, and then I have some things, post by user 2, 3, 4, 5 and so on. And let's say I have a paragraph which holds my name. Now if I open my website, see there is no difference between these 6. There is no difference between these 6. So how will I be able to differentiate between which one is my name and which one are posts by user? So here this attribute comes into play, which is known as the class. So you can write class and write any name, anything. So anything, by anything I mean this must contain only text, underscore, hyphen and digit and not space. So for example, I can write user post, user hyphen post. So these class attributes, let's say I copy it to every paragraph. So this class attribute basically gives meaning to different things, because you see you have a limited number of text, limited number of tags. So how will you differentiate between two same tags which are used in different places? The answer is using class. So if you have a lot of tags that do the same thing, you can put them all in the same class. Now these still look the same. Because we have not changed the visuals, but we can change that using CSS. We can target this class that we just created and then change its style. Let me show you an example proper. Again, go to my website. This is not a self-promotion. Let's see. Reduce it a little bit. So if you see here, yeah, so this thing, I hope you can see the border. This is actually a div. You can see, I know it's a little bit small here, but this is actually a div. And so is this text also is inside a div. But how have I differentiated between these two divs? You can probably easily see that these two are different looking. This div is a little bit wider and a longer, looks like a box. This does not look like that. And the answer is using class. So you can see I have a lot of class. So this div has